Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway, once a speedway, now a super speedway for the Ricmotech Extreme Xfinity Series All-Star Race. Last week, the championship was decided. This week, it's all for fun and games and who's going to be victorious in the All-Star Race. My name is Jonathan Leach. I'm filling in for Frank Marchese, who is stepping away. Joining me in the booth tonight are both Daniel and Chris. Daniel Paulus has been with this series for the better part of the season, and now he gets to be here tonight for the All-Star Race. Daniel, this should be a fun one here at Atlanta as the drivers are starting to take the grid. Go ahead and give us a quick rundown on what we should expect.
Well, what should we expect? Well, let me just tell you really quick right now. So we're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You all remember last week we did crown our champion at Phoenix to conclude the Xfinity Extreme Series, but now here we are at Atlanta for the All-Star Race. We're going to be running 120 laps here around this new updated Atlanta Motor Speedway. There's going to be drafting. There's going to be a lot of aggression, a lot of pushing going around, just because this is not a points race here tonight. This is all just for fun. Who's going to win? I don't know. But we're going to be running 120 laps here around Atlanta. Stage breaks are going to come into play. We're going to have our first stage end at lap 20, second stage end at lap 90. Cautions will be thrown at the end of each stage, so then our drivers can get their service done.
And we'll take a moment to go and talk about a little bit more race information. Atlanta is a 1.52 mile track. The temperature is 89 degrees, 772 feet above sea level. Outside air temperature is 82 degrees. Now it's time to talk about the grid. All the drivers are on the field, and now the grid is up. Ted Poland and Ed Morris will make up row number 1. Alan Dobbs and Paul Irvin are row 2. Alex Reeling, Michael Thwaites, row 3. Row 4 is Jacob Jensen and Joshua Vidal. Austin Karp, Mike Rominger is row number 5. Starting 11th is Scott Ramler. 12th is Carter Casey. 13th is Gary Wells, and rounding out the field is going to be Ed Morris Sr. So we got 120 laps. These drivers ought to be pulling away in just a moment. What these guys usually do is some pre-race ceremony discussions right before they start to roll. Chris, this will be your first time with us. I hope you're excited. I know you and Daniel are pretty familiar with each other, but you're about to get to do something or be a part of something that we do very well, and that's broadcasting these races for one of our many partners in this Extreme Series. Has been a partner since pretty much the very beginning of SRM. I hope you're excited. What do you think we're going to see?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be, absolutely stunning today here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Absolutely stacked field here for the All-Star Race. The best of the best are here today. I'm hoping to see a lot of aggression here today, honestly. I think what we have here at Atlanta, this new configuration, is absolutely amazing. It provides, in my opinion, great racing. You're great. You have to have good. You just overall have to have good skills here today, and that will surely be put to the test at the All-Star Race here.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, it sure will bring great racing going on here tonight. All these drivers, they don't even have to focus on winning a race, winning a championship. They're just here to have fun. And all of these drivers have put on great races throughout the season. And our champion of Ed Morris Jr. currently in second right now, starting in second. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's up here leading. But remember, there's that one little bump that could go wrong here in the turns or coming out of the turns. Could send a car right around in front of you.
You know, that's going to be the thing here with Atlanta, is the draft is going to be a key factor. There's only 14 drivers that are going to be out here. But lose that draft, it's game over. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see some green flag pit stops. You know, that's going to play a role in this as well. But considering the field is so small, we might see a very green race.
Yeah, and these drivers are not going to be running full throttle this whole time. They're going to be letting off just a little bit, because if they go full throttle, they're going to run into the driver just in front of them. So they're going to be flexing their right foot there on that throttle. So they're not going to be going 100%.
Yeah, hoping to see these guys start pulling off the grid here in just a couple moments. This is an awfully long grid, but again, they're having some quick discussions before they get started here. I figure they'll start rolling in the next minute or within the next minute or two. So we can take a second to go through the field here. And starting with the pole sitter, Ted Poland. He's out of Mount Holly, New Jersey. And Ed Morris is out of Bloomingdale, Georgia. You know, I was in Georgia last week, the Savannah region. Fort Payne is for Alan Dobbs and Paul Irvin, Knoxville. Alex Ruling, lone Ford in the top 10. He's out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Michael Thwaites out of Baltimore, Maryland. Jacob Jensen's going to be starting 7th with no information. Joshua Vidal, no information, starting 8th. 9th is going to be Austin Karp, and Mike Rominger is starting 10th. Got some guys without some information there to tell us. Edgewood, right here at Edgewood, Kentucky, for Scott Rambler. Carter Casey, Fort Walton Beach. I tell you what, it's awfully nice down there, gentlemen. Gary Wells, Indianapolis, and Ed Morris Sr. out of Bloomingdale, Georgia. Showing laps now, a lap count on the top left side of the screen here, so I think we're going to start rolling in just a couple moments. 120 laps. It's gonna happen quick because of the low car count. We do have stages, Daniel. You mentioned that breakdown earlier, and at the end of the day, everybody just wants to win the race.
And that's what's going to happen. You're going to see drivers possibly go 3, might even see 4 wide if we're lucky. Pretty sure we might just see 3 wide here tonight. But what I've seen here last time from Atlanta, I've seen 3 wide finishes. I've seen 3 wide on the last lap. I've seen drivers who pulled out just a little bit earlier, just got pushed out of the groove on the white flag, and they went all the way to the back as you see the field now rolling off pit road.
All right, so these guys are going to come around
like
one
15
time.
of Ted Poland dropping.
So these guys are going to come around, and they're going to be green coming to the start-finish line. And as you mentioned, Ted Poland dropping to the back. Not sure what the reason is. Perhaps our buddy Michael can get us that information, as he is race control. The race controller for the better part of the season here for Extreme. Well, actually, the entire season has been an SRM member, pulling race control for the Extreme Series, and apparently he does a pretty good job. He's had a lot of time to work with Ed Morris, you know, who really runs this league, and get everything set up just the way that they like it. So coming in turn 3 at Atlanta, turns 3 all the way to 4 is actually quite a long way. This is the new Atlanta configuration, so it's paved, it's very fast. The draft comes into play here. Pace car coming down. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, because it's about to be showtime here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alan Dobbs and Ed Morris are going to lead the field to the green flag. Here they come.
Still making their way into turns 1 and 2 with Alan Dobbs out front. Alan Dobbs is very strong in the regular season, but he's just here to have fun here tonight. We're going to see a lot of lead changes here tonight from Atlanta, Chris.
Yeah, it takes about a lap for the cars here to get right up to speed. As you see, a 3-car pull away on the inside there, about a 4-car pull away on the top side. That's the 07 and 77 leading both lanes. 7's getting lucky here out of 4.
So as we completed one lap around Atlanta Motor Speedway, Alan Dobbs is still out front. Ed Morris has lost a position to Alex Reeling, but that's only because they're 2x2 once you get a car back from first. And you've got Austin Karp, who's kind of the lone man car there, but now it's just like pack racing you'd see at Daytona. You got 8 cars, 2x2x2x2, and then a little bit further back you have Ted Poland, Scott Rambler, Gary Wells, Joshua Vital, and Ed Moore Sr. Those guys are all single file. So expect to see some racing like this for a while, a lot of 2x2 action.
You will see a lot of 2x2 action, but don't forget, this is what you're going to be looking out for if we do go long green flag run. Look for these drivers to start not doing 2x2 anymore. Start looking for them to run like a snake line formation. Could be a key here.
So now that pack of cars starting to get a little bit more organized. Now I say the top 10 are involved in there. Only 4 drivers that aren't 2x2. Scott Rambler, Gary Wells, Vital, and Ed Moore Sr. Don't be surprised when the whole pack ends up being 6 rows of 2. And that's the whole field for the first half of this race.
Our champion, our recent champion in the Extreme Xfinity Series, taking the lead here, running that top line. Going down that back straightaway. Look at me side by side heading in turn number 3.
And you know, in the key thing here, or I would say the unfortunate thing here, is that because it's like super speedway racing, we're going to see a lot of the same thing for a lot of these laps. They're going to be side by side, maybe a lead change, maybe somebody will shuffle top to bottom. But for the most part, things are going to be awfully tame at this race until we get to the very end with, say, about 15-20 laps to go. I think you have to move a little bit sooner here than you would at Daytona or Talladega, based on the fact it is a bit of a short, about a mile shorter, and you can make more mistakes into and out of the corner than you can at Daytona and Talladega. And you got a lot of weaving right there. The 37 can't decide which lane to block. And the 7 looks a little bit slow. So the real concern, though, is when that weaving does occur, you don't want to be in a situation where the top lane weaves into the middle and the low lane also weaves up the track into the middle. And that's what's going to cause some contact. But field all within 1.2 seconds of each other here on lap 7. Coming in turn number 3. I suppose this would be a great time to step away and run one of the XMS Xfinity Series sponsors. So we want to thank you guys for being a part of our event, and we'll be back in a few moments.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Back with you now at Atlanta lap 12 of 120. Not much has changed since we left you a few moments ago. Once again, want to thank the Ricmotech guys and the Extreme Scoring software that helps make the XMS Racing Series go. There's no other way else to put it. Without their help, it might be a little bit harder to bring excellent racing to the fans each and every week. So as we're coming into turn number 3 right here, again, not much has changed, and we're going to see a lot of racing like this for a while. When green flag pit stops come around or at the end of the stage, that's when things are going to get a little bit interesting. But for the most part, we're just not there yet. So got stage breaks at lap 20 in six laps, and at lap 90. Expect everybody to come down pit road at lap 20. I'm not certain they can make it to lap 90 on fuel, as you got 3 wide racing right there. And I don't think that was by design, as Ted Pollin's dropping.
I was watching that 4 car of Mike Rominger there getting in front of the 48 of Paul Irvin there. I thought he was going to get clipped. I didn't know if he was going to be clear there for a second, but he got through somehow. And we're going to see his 3 wide action going off and on throughout this whole night here. And one little mistake here going 3 wide, you could easily go around. So you want to be very careful when you decide to go 3 wide. But so far, it doesn't look like anybody's losing the draft at all. You see the 87 right there of Gary Wells pushing to the 20. AC through the corner. Everybody running very clean here.
I was going to say, living a little bit dangerously going up and giving him a bump there through the corner, but doesn't really upset that car in front of him. I believe that's the number 28. That's Carter Casey. Carter Casey's car just kind of stays underneath him. And perhaps these Xfinity cars bump draft a little bit better than the next gen series cars. The front bumpers, rear bumpers made up a little better. So Ed Morris getting a push for the number 12, Michael Thwaites, trying to edge him out in front of Alan Dobbs, but it's been all Dobbs the first 16 laps of the race. We'll see who's leading at the end of the stage, but so far it's been Dobbs, but really I think anybody in the field can lead based on how this track is going. A lot of weaving right there, kind of a snake style, unintentionally. You see the 48 machine of Paul Irvin drop down to the low side, Ally 48. Ed Morris still trying to nose the 37 back. It's just kind of back and forth. It seems like the high side gets some momentum, then the low side gets some momentum, and they're just trading by about a half of a car length each and every lap.
Look at that 12 machine all over the 07. My bad, the 7 of Ed Morris Jr. there. And you see a car in the wall up there. That's the 21.
I think that's number 19
you don't want to
of
get
Austin
up there
Carp.
too far. Oh, my bad. 19. But you don't want to get up there because let me tell you, Austin Carp just lost all his positions. And he might even lose the draft here because once you're up there in those marbles, you're out of luck.
Yeah, he's dropped a lot. He's about a second behind the field now. And on a track like this, that's dangerous. We're going to see if, because they're running 2x2, if he can catch back up and stay in the draft. But I'm feeling like that's unlikely because he's 1.5 seconds back from the rest of the field, and he's 0.7 of a second back from Ed Morris Sr. We'll keep an eye on it. It looks like he might have the speed. Yeah, he's got the speed. He still has the draft. He'll be all right.
Very, very lucky here, but it's going to take some time to get back up to the front.
Stage 1.
37.
Sorry to cut you off, Daniel.
No, you're fine.
Stage 1. Stage break number 1. Alan Dobbs is leading. Alex Reeling P2. Ed Morris P3. Carter Casey and Michael Thwaites ran out the top 5. Gary Wells, Jacob Jensen. 8th belongs to Joshua Vidal, and rounding out the top 10 is Mike Rominger, Ted Pollin. That's stage number 1. We got one more stage to go at lap 90, which is going to create a 30-lap shootout. That'll be entertaining, I think. Expect all these guys to come down pit road. Also want to mention while we are under break that Chris, who is joining us has some bad weather in the area. I'm going to assume that he lives over around Chicago, where there's some severe
Illinois
weather. Yeah, severe weather going on over there, and he ended up timing out. He'll try to be back with us, but if he doesn't make it, let's just hope that his home and family stay safe, because there was some tornadic weather in that area this evening. So waiting for the field to come down pit road. I expect everybody to come.
Everybody's gonna get that tire wear. Maybe not tires just yet. Maybe just a splash of fuel. We'll see if those cars do go up to get those tires. And everybody's coming down pit road, nice and clean here, with the Alan Dobbs leading the way. And I mean, 20 laps went by so fast here, Jonathan. I mean, if this is the way it's gonna go, we're gonna be finished in no time. But I mean, I don't want to jinx it here, but you see everybody not missing their pit stops here. There's the 64 of Jason Jensen.
Well, as you just said that, we saw Ted Poland miss the #1 pit stall. Drove right through it and back up. That's going to cost him a little bit, but he's in the back of the field anyhow, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Alan Dobbs off first, Ed Morris, Carter Casey, and then the rest of the field right behind him.
I think he'll be fine. As long as you start back it doesn't matter where you start. I mean, you're all going to be in the draft again, so you're safe unless something horribly wrong.
Yeah, we got 98 laps left to decide this thing. Daniel, let's go pick a guy to interview. Go grab somebody. Your dealer's choice. And then you're going to interview them.
Let's see, who do we want to pick?
You only got about a minute to do this, so let's not wait too long.
Let's pick Ed Morris.
So while we're waiting to get an opportunity,
Hey, Ed Morris, it's Daniel and Jonathan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Well, it's been an exciting first stage. Nothing going terribly wrong just yet. Tell us, what is it like out there right now?
That's fast. I mean, you know, I had a couple of different pushers there, and the car felt really snug at the beginning of the run, but it started freeing up there toward the end. So we'll see how this does on this longer run, and we get some more wear on the tires, and see how this plays out. You know, I don't know if we're gonna go green the whole time like that or not, or if we're gonna try to single file out. I don't know. I don't really know what the plan is. I'm just trying to stay up front. It's easier to be in front of the wreck than behind it. So.
And how fast is that grip level coming into play here?
Like I said, it feels pretty good early on, but it felt like it was starting to go away.
All right. Well,
I don't know. I haven't been directly behind somebody either, so I don't know if I imagine the arrow is going to play a factor into that too.
Fair enough. We're going to get you sent back over there because you got about a corner away from the green flag. Good luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end.
Thanks, man.
Daniel, get him in his room.
Trying.
All right, the pace car comes down pit road, and as drivers like Alan Dobbs, Ed Morris are about to get this show back underway. The green flag is out, waving for Alan Dobbs, a car length in front of Ed Morris on the start, who's on the high side with a healthy push from Jacob Jensen, the number 64 Chevrolet. So we're going to be 2x2, just as we expected. And Ed Morris, just a moment ago, was saying he doesn't know if it's going to look like this for the remainder of the run or if it's going to single file out at some point. Only time will tell. So starting to see a little bit of a breakaway. The top three could really pull up right here and make this a different race. But instead, you're going to see Carter Casey move up to the high side right there in front of Ed Morris. So Ed Morris is now going to get to figure out what it's like to be behind a car. As he said a second ago, looks a little bit turbulent as he just poked out to the high side just a bit right there. Here we are back to 2x2x2 racing.
I'm just seeing a little more aggression out of these drivers after stage number 1. In the first, actually the second and third row, I'm actually seeing a little more aggression. You're seeing the 7 right there, Ed Morris Jr. looking to the inside. He's going to stay right behind the 28 there of Carter Casey.
I think this is going to be the norm. I think these guys want to run side by side. It's more entertaining for them to run side by side. And again, at the end of the day, you're the closer the field is together, the better chance you have of winning the race. So I think this is going to be the normal. We're at 16.5 minutes of racing, already cleared through 27 laps. Lap times are hovering around the 31-second range for these drivers. Fastest lap being a 30:58 by Joshua Vidal. And again, 14 drivers, still 14 drivers on the lead lap as we're coming to lap 28 here at Atlanta.
Side by side, working their way around Atlanta Motor Speedway here in the All-Star race. Going into turn number 3 with Carter Casey having the edge here on the outside line. Coming out of turn number 4. They're still going to be battling side by side going across the start-finish line. As you see the field right now working their way around here, going 180 miles per hour going into turn number 1. Lap times going around 31:23 right now. Seeing some of these drivers using different lanes, going all the way as close to the outside wall as possible. Going down the back straightaway with Alan Dobbs, Jacob Jensen all right there inside the top 3 with Robinson rounding out your top 3. Working here on lap 30, going on lap 31 out of 120. This race is flying by. No cautions yet. We had a pit stop occur at the end of stage number 1 like we expected. Could we see that at the end of stage number 2? We sure can. Seeing this field now, again, more single file here on the inside line. Very well organized. Outside line just lost it right now. Everybody working their way into turn number 4, coming down the front straightaway. I don't see anybody going to the outside line just yet. I think we're just going to stay pretty calm right now. Going into turn number 1 with Alan Dobbs on the point. We'll go through your field right now. We have Jacob Jensen second, Mike Rominger in third. Just outside your top 3, you have Jay Vidal in 4th. Ed Morris Jr., our current series champion for season 18, inside the top 5, rounding out your top 5. 6th place, we have Ted Pullen. We have the 19 of Carp right there, switching places, now switching back with Ted Pullen. 8th place, we have Michael Thwaites. Was a very legitimate threat last season here to compete for a championship, just didn't cap it off the way he wanted to. 9th place, we have A. Reeling. 10th place, Carter Casey. 11th, Michael Ramler. 12th place, Paul Irvin in that 48 machine. 13th place, Gary Wells. And 14th, E. Morris Sr. rounding out your field here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here on lap 34, here for the Extreme Xfinity Series with Alan Dobbs continuing to take the lead away. Everybody's staying single file. Nobody's going to go too wide unless somebody goes out there and risks it, because that's the thing. If you go out there and risk it, are you going to be an only biscuit out there, or are you just going to be, you know, falling all the way to the back? That's a risk that you could take. You see right there, a driver moving up to the outside line. Does anybody go with him? See right there, the 4, Mike Rominger going to the outside there. Might be able to start a second row here to get up to the front. They're going to need a lot more cars behind them to take that momentum up to the front. Two cars still on the outside there. Not having the momentum that they want. Will anybody else help them? Or are they just going to stay on single file line here? Austin Karp going to the outside. That's 3 drivers now on the outside. Moving to the front inch by inch. You see Michael Thwaites back there going to the outside as well to see if they could get a run down the back straightaway and into turn number 3, trying to catch the 37 of Alan Dobbs. Look at that 21. I meant the 19. Going very high there. Here comes the 4. Mike Rominger. Is he going to take the lead away? Right now, he's battling for second place. He just needs a little more momentum going down the back straightaway. Will he get it? If he does, they're going to be side by side battling for a lead here on lap 37. They're side by side going into turn number 3 and 4 with Mike Rominger on the outside and the 37 Alan Dobbs on the inside. Still battling side by side and into turn number 1. Mike Rominger was almost there, just didn't quite get the lead there. He needs to clear the 37 there, take the lead away. On lap 38 here, side by side. There's the 64 Jacob Jensen sliding up the track just a little bit in turn number 3, but he's going to keep it straight. You see a little gap there. Will the 15 of Ted Pullen go to the inside, or will he stay on the outside? Now it looks like a lot more drivers are on the outside. This is going to hurt that inside line. Looking mid-pack there, I see the 7 of Ed Morris Jr. race behind the 12 of Michael Thwaites, joining that outside line of group of cars. And Mike Rominger to the lead here on lap number 40. Pulls down in front of the 37 of Alan Dobbs. Now Alan Dobbs is competing for second right now with the 15 of Ted Pullen leading that outside line. Speaking of Atlanta Motor Speedway, this track is very fun to race at. It is a very challenging racetrack now too, since the new configuration. You're not 100% on the throttle. You're letting off maybe 10-20% on that throttle, because if you go full throttle and there's a driver in front of you, you will get wrecked, and that is not what we want here at Atlanta. And you don't want to risk yourself again wrecked out of this race. It's the all-star race, the best of the best competing against each other here tonight. And let me tell you, they're putting on a heck of a show here tonight from Atlanta. Off at turn number 4, going on lap 42 out of 120. Great battle going on here, side by side for the lead. The 12 of Michael Thwaites drops back just a little bit, trying to get that run going down the back straightaway. Mike Rominger is going to lead that lap over to 15. The 19 of Austin Karp looking to make it 3 wide. Not going to happen off of turn number 2. And you see these drivers pushing, scrambling, peeking to the inside, peeking to the outside, trying to see if they could get a run here. And man, that 15 is struggling to hold a line right now. But he's doing good right now, keeping it straight. But the 19 of Austin Karp all over his bumper going into turn number 1. Heading into turn number 1 here. On lap 46, these drivers, they're getting a little more aggressive now. No, that. Working their way down the back straightaway here. With Mike Rominger out front. Once he got control of the field, he has been out front ever since in front of Alan Dobbs here on lap 48. Let's do a crank it up. Welcome back here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Extreme Xfinity Series here for the All-Star race with Austin Karp out front right now. We had a lot of lead changes going on, Jonathan. We had Mike Rominger out front. We had Alan Dobbs out front. Drivers switching different lanes. This race is getting a little pumped up right now for some of these drivers.
Yeah, you can see drivers starting to make different movements, different decisions as they're getting through here now. Starting to try to figure out which lane works better for them. How is it going to look whenever they have to make up positions towards the end of this race? Of course, we're not quite halfway, but we're getting close. 60 is the magic number for halfway. 120 laps. There is going to be a stage break on lap 90. Ed Morris now finds himself in 7th, really going to figure out what it's like to be in the draft here. Not sure if we'll see another caution other than the stage break. I'd like to hear from other drivers what it looks like out on the field. Also worth mentioning, on the left side of the screen, 3 drivers have the red over their names. From my understanding, those were 3 championship drivers from the recent Xfinity season that just ended last week. Of course, Ed Morris was the champion. The 14 drivers tonight, 12 are no longer on the lead lap. 11 on the lead lap, 3 are no longer on the lead lap. Scott Ramler, Carter Casey, and Gary Wells. So, showing a few guys that are no longer on the lead lap. You can see it right there. Each of those drivers are 1 lap down, and the gap from Morris Sr. to the lead is just over a second. So the top 11 drivers very close together.
Out front right now, 37 Alan Dobbs. Jonathan, nobody can get rid of the 37 Alan Dobbs at all tonight. We have seen different lead changes going on, but it seems like 37 has this track figured out very well, because he just finds his way to the front no matter what.
A lot of side-by-side action now for everybody left on the lead lap. So you got 10 cars in this main group, well, 11 cars. Ed Morris kind of straddling behind, waiting for something to happen. And that is, of course, Ed Morris Sr. Ed Morris, the junior type, in that 7 machine, is kind of more in harm's way if something was to happen in front of him. But these guys are doing a pretty good job staying away from each other and running their own race. These guys are last on pit lane lap 21, so they're already about 10 laps longer on their tires, and the fall off shows that they're about a half second slower than they were when they last came in for the pit stop on lap 20 for stage break number 1. Alan Dobbs has been up front this entire race. No one has been able to unseat him, I should say. But that all can change here as the race goes on. Want to thank the XMS Xfinity Series for being a part of the SRM family for their season and the many seasons in the past. Already talked a little bit about doing this again for the next season. I'm not sure exactly how that looks yet, but I'm excited for the opportunity to once again carry this excellent series on the SRM platform. So Alan Dobbs has pretty much led every lap, maybe plus or minus 1 or 2. Joshua Vidal now in the 3rd place position, the lone Toyota in the field. You've got about 9 Chevys, 4 Fords, and a Toyota. And that makes up 14 drivers. So lap 60, the halfway mark. Now we have come to halfway, Daniel.
Well, this race it's been green running ever since the start. I'm sure it's probably going to be green all the way till the checkered flag falls to see who wins this all-star race. And I mean, I expected this to happen. These guys have very, very good talent behind the wheel. They have fast race cars as well, and they put on a heck of a season here from Extreme Xfinity Series. They've I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know who was going to be champion this season, just because I thought they were all champions in my book, because they race very, very clean and against each other, and they go in and out of each week to see who's at the best at what track. And right now it's the 37 Alan Dobbs who's been dominating this track right now at Atlanta. And I mean, the only way I can see Austin Karp right now get to the front, Jonathan, is if he has more cars behind him. But that inside line has a lot more cars, and the more cars you have, the more momentum you're gonna have.
We'll just have to see how the rest of this race shakes out. As we're at the halfway point, we'll step away and want to thank the Xfinity series, the XMS Ricmotech Xfinity series sponsors for everything that they do. And we'll be right back with the second half of the All-Star race. Who's it going to be? Any one of these 14 drivers can make it, and the 3 drivers not on the lead lap are looking for a caution so they can get back onto the lead lap. If it's timely enough, they can just not pit the next time around the stage and get back on the lead lap. We'll be back with you in just a few moments.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Back here, past halfway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Extreme Xfinity Series. My name is Daniel Paul Jr. Alongside me in the broadcast booth is Jonathan Leach and Chris, but unfortunately, Chris, I don't think is going to be able to come back due to some circumstances with the weather right now in Illinois. But wish you are safe, Chris, and hopefully we get to have you back here on soon on SRM. Here on lap number 68, we have Alan Dobbs, currently our leader, looking like the top 4 have pulled away here. Not sure if they have done green flag pit stops just yet. Probably have, since there's only 4 cars I've seen on track right now. In second place right now, we have the Jay Vidal in that 26 machine. Right behind him, Paul Irvin in the 48, currently sitting third. Fourth place, we have the 1 car of Rayland, doing an excellent job here. A very, very young racer, and he has proven to us that he can race with these fellows, and I expect big things out of him next season here in the Xfinity Series. And like they always mention, Xfinity Series is always for learning to get to the Cup Series, so you might see him come to the Cup Series very soon. You see cars now coming down pit road here for green flag pit stops. You saw the 26 there of Jay Vidal lock them brakes up there coming on pit road. I don't see any penalty just yet, but let's see if these drivers get all 4 tires or just a splash of fuel. I'm assuming they do get tires. It was a very long run, and let's see if those jacks go up. Yeah, you see right there, 48, the 1 getting tires there. This is all going to cycle out to the 64 of Jacob Jensen right now, who is currently leader. Once he gets past, there's Mike Rominger in the 4. And Ed Morris Jr. right behind him in the 7 machine. Heading down the back straightaway. Currently, both of them currently inside the top 5 there. And now Jacob Jensen falling back to 6th place. with our leader, the 37 of Alan Dobbs. Still our leader here on lap 70 out of 120. These laps are going by so fast. And let me tell you, with just 49 laps to go, if we run this thing completely green, this is the fastest race that I've ever broadcasted in my broadcasting career. And while we're seeing drivers on track here on lap 71, they're all spread out due to green flag pit stops going on here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 37 Alan Dobbs leading the way here on lap 72. Let's do a crank it up here while these drivers are going to start getting regrouped here. Coming back from our crank it up session here from Atlanta Motor Speedway here, going on lap number 75 here with Mike Rominger leading the way in the first pack. Here in the second pack, you see right there, 28 of Carter Casey leading that second pack of 6 cars after our green flag pit stops going down the back straightaway. And these drivers are going to have to work very aggressively and hard to get back up to the first pack here and work very nicely here. You want to give those good pushes so you can get that momentum to move yourself forward here going down the front straightaway. You see right there, they're catching up to the 37 of Alan Dobbs. 37 is going to go high. He's going to allow these drivers to pass him. 50. Oh, wow. The 57 slid up the track there. Oh, the 12 gets a little loose. A little contact there for the 1, but they keep it straight. Going into turn number 3. There's the 87 of Gary Wells in the inside line, just in front of the 12 of Michael Thwaites. On lap 77 out of 120. Nice little pack of cars there going on into turn number 3, but up front we have the 4 of Mike Rominger, our leader right now from Atlanta. Second place, our champion Ed Morris Jr. And third place we have Jacob Jensen at 64. Fourth place, the Paul Irvin in the 48 Ally Machine. And fifth place, the 26 of Jay Vidal, rounding out your top 5. '28 of Carter Casey trying that inside line. Is anybody going to go with him? No, he's going to have to go back up to the top. Stay in that draft. Do not lose it, my friend, because if so, you're going to be in a hurt world of trouble right there, because once you're out of that draft here on any drafting track, no matter if it's Atlanta, Daytona, Talladega, or iRacing Super Speedway, it is extremely hard to get back up in the draft. You could go multiple laps down depending on what Super Speedway you are at if it is a long green flag run. If you are in that situation, you're going to want a caution to come out. But here we have been caution free so far in the All-Star race here in the Extreme Xfinity Series. And for Mike Rominger's back up front here. And Alan Dobbs is finding himself mid-pack right now. And his help from Austin Karp there in the 19 machine on that inside line. 3 wide at first. The 57 there again, a little loose. 57's going to get loose. He might go around here. Oh, he gets a little contact there from the 28 of Carter Casey. Is that going to bring out a caution? We stay green here. Let's see if that 28 machine or 57 goes down pit road. Single file once again, mid pack. Gonna have to regroup here. 26 gonna have to catch the 12 of Michael Thwaites. Alan Dobbs looking to the inside of the 26 of Vidal. 3 cars separated right now. That's the 12 of Thwaites, the 1 of A Reeling. But here is our leader, Mike Rominger, to the point here on lap 83. These 4 cars pulling away just a little bit here. They'll have control of that lead. Unless a caution does come out. There's the 15 of Ted Pullen about to go a lap down. Mike Rominger is going to go high. You're going to go around 15 of Ted Pullen, and he's going to go a lap down here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it looks like he might be coming down pit road, and maybe not. He just got out of the way of our leader there. You see the 57 also going a lap down due to that little incident 2 laps ago, coming off of number 2, getting very, very loose there. I thought he was going to go around, but got tagged by the 28, did not bring out a caution, and we stayed green. Working our way on lap 85 here right now. With Ed Morris in second, chasing down the 4 Mike Rominger.
And only 5 laps away now from the second stage break, which will be on lap 90. Once again, expect all the drivers to come down pit road for that. And then we'll have a shootout of 30 laps to the end. So sorry I had to step away for a brief moment, but now we're back here. 12 drivers on the lead lap. Gary Wells got back onto the lead lap. Now Ted Pullen and Scott Ramler are the only 2 drivers not on the lead lap. So the good news for them is that they can pit here. One of them is going to get the lucky dog on the next pit stop, and he'll be able to pit. The other is going to have to hope that there's a caution. And if I'm these 2 guys, if I'm Scott Rambler, I'm hoping that I was the guy that was going to get the lucky dog, but I'm 14 seconds behind. So he just needs to stay on the lead lap for the next 3 or so, come in, pit, not take the wave around, and he's going to have to hope that he gets a caution to get back on the lead lap, because he's not going to make it to the end if he does not pit this time or at this stage break.
Well, we'll find out very shortly here with our second stage coming close to an end here from Atlanta. Here in the All-Star race, Mike Rominger, once he got that lead away after green flag pit stops, he's been out front ever since, and Ed Morse Jr. has been chasing him down.
Ted Morris has now been up front, he's been in the back, he's been in the middle, he's back to P2 where he's used to being. Like he said at the beginning of the race, you stay in front of the problems, you will be out of the problems. A little bit of a problem behind him. Paul Irvin, Jacob Jensen almost trade paint, but no big deal, they hang on to it. And of course you've got the number 15 Ted Poland's right there. You know, wouldn't it be fortunate for him to just scream by all these guys in just a second and get his lap back the hard way? In that case, he wouldn't have to pit at the tail end of the field or restart the tail end of the field. But the stage is about to come out as they're going to cross the line in just a moment. That's the top 5. They crossed lap 90. We're going to wait, I believe, till the last drivers cross the line for stage number 1. And Ted Poland, as stage 2 is now out. Ted Poland will be your lucky dog. Scott Rambler kind of saved by the bell for going more laps down. He was awfully slow. I don't know if he was saving a lot of fuel. No, he's got a lot of damage stuck at the rear of that machine.
Yeah, it didn't bring out a caution at all. I thought it would bring out a caution, but they got off track very, very quickly. And he got loose coming off of turn number 2. And when he got loose, he got actually hit from behind from the 28 of Carter Casey. So that's why he has a lot of damage on that rear. And with that much damage, John, that's going to hurt your aero a lot.
That's going to be a really bad day for that. I'm trying to see here and see if I can find where trouble occurs. Trying to follow on with the 57. Oh, he's up there battling for the lead right here. And he just gets... That's an odd looseness that happened right there. And he's off the track, and it looks like he didn't even get touched on the rear, but it messed up his car. I think there's some netcode that had a role to play in that. But anyhow, Ted Poland's going to get back on the lead lap. We're going to go 30 laps, a shootout to finish this all-star race here at Atlanta. Want to especially thank these drivers for being a part of this all-star race. They had a pre-qualifying race before this one. So these guys have been on the service for a while now today, getting ready for this event. All the drivers coming out. Ed Morris looks like he's going to win off pit road. Mike Robinger, Paul Irvin, Jacob Jensen, Austin Karp, Alex Reeling, Michael Thwaites. Daniel, let's try to pull in somebody else and get a quick word with them, and then we'll see. Curious to know what the field is seeing out there for this one. Maybe Gary Wells would be a good pick.
Yeah, I think Gary Wells would be a good one.
So we're waiting on Daniel to dial Gary Wells up. We'll go back to the front. Pace lights still out. Pace car passing Ed Morris. Expecting them to go out in just a minute here as we're waiting on this interview.
Hey, Gary, it's Daniel and Jonathan Leach in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, it's been an exciting first 2 stages here in the All-Star race. What are your expectations going into this last 30-lap shootout?
Well, car's been running decent, other than the spin a couple times there, getting to pits and whatnot. But honestly, it's go time here. The pay window's open. I'm here to try and win this race. So I think it's going to get really crazy here.
Well, we have been caution-free this whole first 2 stages. I don't know if we're going to stay caution-free this lap, the last 30 laps here, because I know everybody's going to be fighting for position here to get that win. You're currently inside the top 10. What if you're put in that situation? If you're sitting second, third, fourth, and we're coming to that white flag, what are you going to probably do?
Porch 3 wide if it's legal.
I like that. I like that. All right. Well, I hope you have fun in the final 30-lap shootout. We'll be cheering you on, and hopefully we get the interview at the end of this.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right, so that was Gary Wells, one of 4 Fords in the field tonight, currently 9th, but this place races a bit like a super speedway. And that being said, I think if you're on the lead lap, which 13 drivers are, I think you're in the race. Looks like Scott Rambler's car is a little bit more repaired, probably not enough to make him a race contender, but we'll see. Maybe if you get a couple cautions, then anything can happen. Pace car comes down. Ed Morris is going to lead these guys to green. Here we are. Green flag is out. Alan Dobbs is 7th right now. and Ed Morris is going to lead the field into turn number 1.
First time Ed Morris has gotten in front of Mike Rominger here tonight. He's going to be looking, using that rear view mirror, because remember that outside line, they could come very, very fast, and you got to block that line if you want to keep the lead here and try to stay out of a wreck. But so far, green flag this whole entire race. The 7 of Ed Morris Jr. coming off of turn 4, but don't count out that 48 of Paul Irvin just yet, Jonathan, because here he comes on the outside.
I think a lot of this has to do with who's the car pushing you behind you. And you got Jacob Jensen and Mike Rominger. Both drivers have shown that they're capable pushers since the beginning of this race. And really, I think it comes up to momentum. And if it's going to be side by side like this at the end, you just hope the momentum's on your side of the track, whether that be the high side or the low side, because they just seem to go back and forth. Right now, the advantage is Paul Irvin, but here comes Ed Morris with a little bit of the advantage out of turn 4, expecting to get a shot from that 4 of Mike Rominger down the front stretch, which is going to propel him once again in front of the 48 into turn number 1. But the thing is on the backside, as you see now, Paul Irvin has the advantage, and coming out of the corner, Ed Morris is likely to take it again, because it just seems like the momentum shifts each straightaway for these 2 lanes. As you see Ed Morris climbing, and now he has the advantage over Paul Irvin.
This is what's going to happen here in the final 30 laps. You're going to see drivers be a lot more aggressive, probably the most aggressive you've seen them in the first 2 stages. You're going to see drivers pushing really hard, and so far we haven't seen pushes gone wrong, which is very, very good. But like you said, Jonathan, when you come to that white flag, it's all up to the pusher behind you. If you have a good pusher on a super speedway that you know he's really good at pushing on super speedways, you have an excellent shot at this. But if your driver behind you is pushing you and you're going in turn number 3, and he decides to go 3 wide, that's gonna hurt the momentum a lot. So you might end up 3 wide finish, or probably maybe not even winning the race. So you're gonna want to trust the driver behind you pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know how much of the, if you can really make this track 3 wide, it's going to be really difficult to do. It's not as wide as Talladega or as Daytona, and certainly not as wide as Talladega. We've seen them 3 wide a little bit, but one wrong move and everybody's going around. And as you see, the story still continues with the back and forth here between Jensen and Mike Rominger on who's going to be able to push Paul Irvin or Ed Morris the best. As Paul Irvin's going to move down to the low lane and clear Ed Morris, now leaving Jacob Jensen with a clear path on the outside to be the control cars. Now Ed Morris is on the inside without any help. He's got no help.
There is the 3 wide.
Now, Daniel, this is where the side draft comes in. Ed Morris has got to stay side by side with that 48. He's going to end up kind of dropping his toe back a little bit. He's going to get some help. The 33 is going to come down, and now Jacob Jensen in front of him. Jensen making his car extremely wide. Ed Morris is not giving that position up.
Oh, somebody's in the wall.
Yeah, we did hear
the one.
It looks like they got that sorted out. So that was a little bit of a peek of what's to come right there. We're going to see a little bit more of that.
Well, speaking of 3 wide, Jonathan, if you're 3 wide and you go and get pushed in the middle line and there's nobody behind you, that's like kind of like a suction, like a vacuum, because you're just going to go all the way to the back. Unless you saw right there, he had help, which is good. But if there's nobody behind you, you're going all the way to the back. And you're going to have to try to redo it all over again. So you want to be very careful when you go 3 wide.
At this point, track position is key. Now you got Jacob Jensen, Paul Irvin on the front row, Mike Rominger, Ed Morris. So is Ed Morris a capable pusher, like he is a capable line leader? We're going to find out. How long is he willing to sit here? Is he going to wait for an opening? He can do that for a little bit, but at some point he's going to have to make his own opening. And Alan Dobbs, of course, in the 37, who led most of this race, is sitting in P5 or P6, depending which lane has the advantage. When is he going to try to do something interesting to get back to the front?
Double file throughout the whole pack right now. I don't expect to see these drivers make a move for another 17 laps here. Maybe we'd see them with 2 laps to go, but I expect them to do it with the white flag. Outside line has that run, but look at the Ed Morris Jr. to the inside of the 48 of Paul Irvin, challenging him for the lead. And he might even be clear here with Jacob Jensen right behind him, but they're still going to be side by side going across the start-finish line.
What a move right there by Ed Morris to reestablish being the line lead for that lower lane. That's where he's been for most of the race. He's comfortable down in the low lane, and I do think that's the better lane to be in when it's coming down to the end of the race. Now, that's to be decided. Perhaps the high lane's going to be victorious, but Ed Morris doing what he has to do, showing how he won the championship. As the 37 of Alan Dobbs trying to make a move to the inside. He's going to leave the 48 high and dry, take the rest of the field with him. 3 wide, everybody is freight training by that 48. As you said, left out like a vacuum.
Not what the 48 had in mind there, but Ed Morris Jr. out front once again. You know, that outside line is losing that momentum. They're going to need to get very well organized here in side draft.
This is the first time you kind of saw 2 cars in front of the pack. I don't think that's going to last for very long as Alan Dobbs is trying to make that high lane work. And now look at this with 15 laps to go. It's like right back the way it was at the beginning of the race. Ed Morris, Alan Dobbs. Mano, front row. Who can push the best to get them to the start-finish line first? Is it going to be Austin Karp? Is it going to be Jacob Jensen? Rominger's fallen back to 6. So now it's the 64 and the 19. The 19's with the 37 of Alan Dobbs, and the 64 is with Ed Morris. That's Jacob Jensen. We saw Jacob Jensen doing an excellent job pushing the 48. On the top side, Paul Irvin's now back to 9th. Lock can still shuffle.
I don't know if I don't know if any of these 2 drivers up front could win, because if one little mistake goes wrong on a final lap and they decide the wreck, it could be somebody that we had no idea that could win. It could be somebody like Michael Thwaites, depending on how big the wreck is, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that a caution's going to shake this all up, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if nothing happens. Chaos ensues, but the caution just does not occur, and these guys finish under green. I would not be surprised if that were to happen. Scott Rambler, of course, having a little more speed now. I think he would certainly like, to get back on the lead lap to have a shot at this one. But if anything else, kudos to Scott Rambler for taking this damaged car, not capable of winning the race, and hanging on here to put on a good show to keep all 14 drivers in this race. So I want to thank the 57 driver Scott Rambler for hanging in this one with that damaged race car. I'm going to call that the Iron Horse driver of the event. Ed Morris with a 2 car length gap over Jacob Jensen, Alan Dobbs. Jacob Jensen should really, I think, slide up and take that position away, but he's going to stay with Ed Morris. Lost his opportunity to slide up in front of Alan Dobbs. I think it's still there. This could be his one chance to be up there and win this race, and he just isn't taking it. But, he might be thinking it's still too early to make a move like that.
It's way too... Oh, look at the 48 of Paul Irvin all the way high. I think he might have hit the wall there a little bit.
He did. We heard him into the wall. I'm not sure if he got shoved or if he got a little bit loose. People starting to weave and bob a little bit more. Drivers getting a lot closer together. Things are tighter. Side by side, the whole field is within 1 second of each other. So that's awfully close. He's getting much tighter right there. At some point, Ed Morris is going to have to start trying to block that second lane, but when you do that, you get held out to dry. So it's kind of like, you've got 2 different paths. Hold that low line or try to run both lanes. And I feel like holding the low lane is safer than trying to block both lanes. But if you don't block both lanes, you end up with 2 cars on the side of you. But that lower line is much more formed up than the high side. As you see that 26, that's Joshua Vidal, kind of stepping out a little bit. He's got Gary Wells behind him. We spoke to Gary. He said he's just going to kind of go like Dale, And, you know, he didn't say that, but he's just going to start making moves and try to get up there. And he's almost out of time. Only 4 minutes left of racing. 26 is going to get hung out to dry. It's Joshua Vidal. No, he's not. He's going to get some help. Gary Wells is going to go with them, make this 3 wide.
Well, I mean, there are 7 laps to go. So, I mean, I don't know if this is too early, but like,
no, it's not too early at all.
7 to go.
Yeah, it's not too early at all. It's a mile and a half racetrack. These guys don't build up the same kind of momentum that they do at Talladega or Daytona. 26 and 87, Gary Wells, and of course Gary Wells there, and Joshua Vidal losing that momentum isn't going to work out for him. Edmore still sticking to his guns and staying down low as Alan Dobbs is trying to get that high lane to work for him.
That third line just didn't work for the 26 right now. Maybe he has one more shot later on to do it. But with just coming in a line with 5 laps to go here in the All-Star race, is anybody going to get past the Ed Morris, our champion? Or is it going to be a different driver that could win here? You see Ed Morris trying to block that high line, but he decided to stay down the bottom there. Still going to be battling side by side there.
We're coming to lap 5 to go. 2.5 minutes roughly of racing. Ed Morris just trying to hang on to this for 2.5 more minutes, which feels like an eternity when you're trading positions back and forth. The high lane now with momentum. Alan Dobbs pulls side by side through turn 1 and 2. Little contact between the 54 and the 19. It's going to lose momentum for both these drivers. You see him drop a little bit back to the field. The 19 is going to give a big shove to the 37 of Alan Dobbs, but here comes Ed Morris battling back on the low side, and the 64 machine of Jacob Jensen with the momentum coming into the front stretch. Only 4 laps remaining here at Atlanta. Dobbs had an opportunity to clear Ed Morris right there. Doesn't take it. 26 stuck on the high side. Now Dobbs did take it. He gives up the block there. Side by side. It's going to be these 4 drivers. Who's that 29 going to go with? That Carter Casey machine. He's going to go to the low lane. The 48. Paul Irvin's back. Back out of nowhere.
Back.
He's going to leave the 19 out to dry. There's the problem right there.
He's sliding up.
64, Jacob Jensen.
Paul Irvin. The one's around. They're going to come back up track. Caution is out.
And we're going to have a shootout. Alex reeling Paul Irvin. Let's show you how that happened again.
Wow.
I think we're going to have to back this up a little bit more here.
It all started with the 64, Jacob Jensen getting loose.
I'm trying to see what caused Jacob Jensen to get loose. Try and watch this again here. He just kind of got loose up there. The tires must be going away, and that little backup ends up causing these guys to go around Scott Rambler. Hey, Scott Rambler's going to get back in the lead lap. Everybody coming down pit road. They're ready for some fresh tires.
Well, I was kind of expecting this, but not expecting this at the same time. I don't know, John. Did you expect to go into overtime here?
I thought it was possible. The nature of this type of race is a super speedway, and it was all coming down to it right there. Of course, this time they're only going to have a lap to make something happen. If they, get to the white flag, of course, at that point, they're going to race back if they can. So I don't think we're going to see another one after this, because it's just, you're not quite up to full speed in one lap here. All right, so we're going to let these drivers just kind of chill. 4 did not come down pit road. Carter Casey, Alan Dobbs, Justin Karp. Josh Vidal. I think that's going to cost them. Ed Morris is going to be the first car with 4 tires. He'll be restarting row number 3 on the inside. You know, I think the tires will be fresh enough for him to make that work. And I take that back. He's going to be number 2 on the high side. I forgot these guys have the choose cone. So now that puts him row number 2 with the freshest tires. I think he's going to be able to sail off into turn 1 with a lot more confidence than the front, than Carter Casey, Alan Dobbs, and Joshua Vidal, Austin Karp. I think Ed Morris is going to win this race on these fresh tires.
Hey, I mean, fresh tires beats everything. I mean, right?
Not necessarily, but I just feel like he's lined up in the catbird seat. You know, I just... He's going to need not Carter Casey. Yeah, Carter Casey or Austin Karp. One of those guys are going to have to get kind of tangled up here. And he really needs Austin Karp to go and not spin the tires. And if Carter Casey stumbles and Karp goes, and Ed Morris clears that number 28 at Carter Casey, yeah, I think he's going to win the race. However, it depends what kind of restart these top 2 get. And if Austin Karp gets a bad restart, Ed Morris is hosed. So it all is going to come down to the restart that Austin Karp gets. And what's Alan Dobbs going to do? Are they going to go for the same real estate? If you weren't standing, you're standing now as these drivers enter the restart zone for what could be the last time here in Atlanta for the All-Star race. As Carter Casey, Austin Karp are on the throttle. Looks like Carter Casey has the advantage. He's got the outside lane cleared. Ed Morris is just sinking like a rock on those fresh tires. We're going to see if he can gather it back up. He needed to get around that number 19 of Austin Karp. It's not going to happen. Here comes Alan Dobbs to the high side.
Oh.
Ed Morris is stuck in the back. What's he going to do? He's out to the high side. So see if he can make those fresh tires work with some help from the 15 of Ted Poland. If they can make that outside lane work, and he got trouble.
Is that...
Wow, no caution.
Green.
Racing back to the line. Alan Dobbs is in the front. Here comes Ed Morris on the high side. Alan Dobbs kind of blocks the run. Oh my God. The car is... He was in the catch fence. Alan Dobbs.
Oh my gosh, Mike Rominger went up and over, but we're still racing here.
Here comes Austin Karp to the inside. Ed Morris on the high side. Fresher tires without the momentum. Out of turn number 4. 3 wide for the second place.
Oh. There we go again. Oh.
Wow, what a finish. Just like the race a few days ago. Photo finish, 6 cars involved. Austin Karp, Jensen, Carter Casey. My pick was wrong, but we've got to go see what happened to Rominger.
Oh my God. Dude, that was awesome. I never seen anything like that.
Well, you're about to watch it again.
Dude, he got some fence there.
So following that 15 machine, or yeah, the 15 Ted Poland, I believe it was. Not Mike Rominger. Ted Poland, the number 15. All these cars are gaggled up. Here we are on the white flag right now. We know Austin Karp's burning it down, but this was just insane. And there he is. He's literally riding on the wall. Blows up. The floor's on his roof. Still on his roof. Wow. What a way to finish this race. And this is why we're glad this is a virtual event. And there's Austin Karp. Stays out. Gets a little bit of help. A couple other drivers stay out with him. And he wins the race on old tires, holding off Jacob Jensen, Carter Casey, Ed Morris, and Alan Dobbs. And Alan Dobbs made a run for it at the very end. And everybody just stayed bunched together. And ultimately, they just got a little bit squiggly. And Austin Karp was at the right place at the right time to take advantage and come home tonight's race winner. Daniel, go ahead and bring him in. Let's dial him up.
All right, let's bring in our race winner, Karp. Hey, Austin, it's Daniel and Jonathan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Perhaps he's extremely excited.
You got a copy?
Yep, we've got you now. You're a little bit faint, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this mic. What's up, fellas?
Oh, well, it's going fantastic here. What a crazy finish there. Tell us, what was going through your mind here coming into the All-Star race? Were you thinking you were going to win tonight?
I mean, it's it's pretty much a restrictor plate, so who knows? But I didn't think anybody would really pit there. 2 laps left, and they did, and it was pretty hectic. I didn't think we could have held them off, but we did.
Well, the All-Star race has brought on a lot of fans' attention. Great racing going on. And I know you didn't have the season that you wanted here in the Extreme Xfinity Series. What is your goal going into next season?
We'll see. It's fun. It's fun to just race with everybody. It's fun to get good green flag races in. So anything beats a fixed race on any night. So we'll just go have fun.
All right. And do you have anybody you would like to thank?
Nah, just everybody in the league. That was a good year. So I look forward to it next year.
All right, Daniel, thanks for doing the interview for our race winner of Austin Carp. Now we've got a couple other drivers to talk to, one Carter Casey and one Jacob Jensen. We just moved, we're going to get those guys moved around and get them ready. Joining us now in the broadcast booth is driver number 64, Jacob Jensen. He comes home P2. Jacob, you were one heck of a pusher all night long, and you end up finishing P2, which is a little better than where you were in the 3rd and 4th mark for the entire race. Tell us how that final 2 laps went down, and could you have been in a different place to maybe offer you a different finish?
Well, it was really difficult. I don't know if I could have really done anything different. I'm sorry for wrecking most of that field, but after I slid up through 3 and 4 at the end of that long run, I just couldn't really do much different. It was just going through a tear through the field.
All right. Well, that's understandable. This is the type of racetrack it is. It races like a super speedway, but it's a mile and a half. There's just not a lot of room here. And when everybody's going for it at the end, things do happen. I thought you were fantastic as a pusher all race long. Congrats on the P2. We're sort of ready to wrap this up in just a few moments, but we don't ever wrap things up without talking to you guys and letting you guys have the floor. Is there anything else you'd like to say? And then after that, go ahead and tell us who you want to thank for allowing you to be here and to be a part of this this Xfinity series. I think they do an excellent job. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to thank my family, my dad and Uncle Leonard especially. I want to thank some friends. I want to thank Ed Morris and Gary Wells for really setting this series up, and I want to thank you guys for covering it so well.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. I'm not as good as Frank Marchese, who I'm filling in for, but really do appreciate the kudos. Anyway, Jacob, congrats for P2. We hope to be seeing you for the next season coming around, and looking forward to that. I think it's going to be starting in a couple months.
Yep, I'll be there in the Xfinity and Cup Series. See y'all next time.
Sounds good. Enjoy your night. Daniel, that's going to leave our 3rd place driver, Carter Casey, with you. Whenever you're ready to pull him in, he's in the staging room. He's out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. He's driver number 28, one of the 4 Fords in this room. Curious to know what his thoughts are for the end of the race. And Daniel, he's with us now.
Hey, Carter, it's Daniel and Jonathan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, what an exciting way to end the All-Star race here in the Extreme Xfinity Series. What was going through your mind there the last few laps?
Yeah, I just was hoping to get a good restart. I think I jumped out a little too far. Guys behind me had some good runs, and kind of rolled the dice there. Just said, it's green white checker. We're gonna stay out on old tires. Tires were a factor. But at that point, if you take 4 tires, I felt like we were gonna be too far back to have a chance. So just really holding on to it there last few laps, and I think the 64, he had a run, had a steam, and I don't necessarily blame him. He kept the foot in her, and my rear bumper was in between his front bumper and the finish line. So he tagged me and sent me for quite a Tokyo drift show there off of 4. I still don't know how I saved that. But that was just good hard racing. I think we had a good finish there. Pretty much almost reenacted the cup finish from a couple days ago. So that was pretty good stuff. That was fun.
Well, it was a great race for the whole All-Star race and this whole Extreme Xfinity Series season. Now that the All-Star race is out of the way, what are your expectations going into the next season to hopefully win the championship?
Yeah, I think this season had good momentum. Just figuring out some different lines here and there on these tracks. I haven't been running the Xfinity. I haven't ran it a whole lot up until I joined this league, so still some things to learn, some things to improve on. But I feel like we got good overall pace. So just keep keeping the nose clean. Hopefully, we had a couple scary moments here on hot tires, old tires today, where we could I thought for sure it was going around on me, and then almost lost it on pit road time or two. Well, I did lose it one time, so that's what we'll take those notes and keep that momentum.
Well, hey, congratulations on finishing the All-Star race out strong. And I'm sure we'll see you next season in the Extreme Xfinity Series. But do you have anybody that you would like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, just thank you guys with Sim Racing Media for putting on the broadcast week in and week out. Y'all do an excellent job of covering pretty much everything out there that takes place on the track. Thank Ed and these guys, the whole admin team over here for running this league. It's honestly one of the better leagues I've run in. They're pretty prompt with how they respond to things and by the book with how they run everything over here. So that's much appreciated. And just a huge shout out to Hutch Sport Racing and everybody over there for giving me the chance to drive this car.
Well, congratulations on finishing out strong in the All-Star race, and we'll see you next season at Daytona.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
And that was Carter Casey in the number 28 machine.
You know, Daniel, what a race. It went by really quickly.
Yeah.
Only about an hour and 20 minutes of race time. I was really impressed with how this race went. And the finish did not disappoint. It was just like we expected it to be. All the fireworks come down to the end of the night. And we are left with Austin Karp, Jacob Jensen, and Carter Casey on top. You know, we'll go ahead and post the final results here on screen as Ed Morris brings it home fourth with fresh tires. He almost makes it work. Alan Dobbs, P5. Alan led most of the race. Gary Wells, Paul Irvin, 6th and 7th. 8th belongs to Scott Ramler. Michael Thwaites is 9th. Ed Morris Sr. finishes 10th, 11th. Joshua Vidal, Mike Rominger, Ted Poland is 14th. So 14 drivers started this race, 14 drivers finished this race, and an excellent showing in the final race for the Xfinity Series this season. In talks for the next series coming up. Looking forward to having the Extreme X Series back with us. And I think that's sometime in April. And couldn't ask for a better group of guys to be a part of our show. Want to thank Frank Marchese for being here with us throughout the winter months, as he has now gone back to Major League Baseball. We won't get him back until somewhere around October or November, and if he's lucky, and I hope he is, we may not get him back at all. That man deserves the world when it comes to broadcasting, and I hope that he achieves it. I want to thank Ed Morris and the admin team and Michael Smith, part of SRM and Race Control, for doing what they can to put on an excellent racing series. There's only one last thing to do. Let's say good night to everybody and hope to see you again. And as Tony Trapasso would say, a man who called a many extreme series races, as you walk through life, please do not play in traffic. Good night, everybody. Can't wait to see you next time.